Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Football Pundit. The Champions League is coming back and Arsenal are in it again. What are the new changes in the Champions League format? What is the new ball that Adidas has given in this season's Champions League? How many teams will be there in the group stages? And which AI will be used to do the group stage draw for the Champions this time? All these questions will be answered in today's episode of Football Pundit. So welcome to Football Pundit, and without any further ado, let's get started. So people, the old Champions League format for the group stages where there were four teams in each group where they used to play home and away leg with all the three teams is no more. There is a new format in which the group will consist of 8 teams, and this will be the same for UEFA Champions League, UEFA Europa League, and for the Conference League there will be 6 teams per group. Now let's deep dive into it. What are the changes and how UEFA is going to organize this event this time? So this is from the UEFA official site where they say that the next season brings the start of a new era for UEFA men's competitions. From 2024-2025 onwards, a new format will be introduced in the Champions League, the UEFA Europa League and the UEFA Conference League, making the European club football landscape even more Most significant change that has been there was earlier there used to be a 32 team group stage. Now that has changed and there will be a 36 teams featuring for all of the subsequent Champions League, Europa League and Conference. Now this is where they say, so a total of 108 teams will take part in the league phase. So the initial phase will be a league phase where after the league phase it will go to a knockout. Then from there it will go to round of 16, which is similar and exactly as previous seasons in the Champions League and the UEFA Europa League and the Conference. So there will be 108 teams to take part in the new league phase, 36 teams per competition as we just said. Now if you see the league phase, there will be a total of 36 teams. The current 32 team group stage will be replaced by a single 36 team league phase. All results will be counted in the same ranking. So 3 points per win, 1 point per draw and 0 points if it's a loss. The final ranking in the league phase determines which 24 teams advance to the knockout phase and furthermore their seeding position from the knockout phase. Now since we already discussed that there will be 36 team per competition and there will be 8 games per team, and the difference now is the 8 teams that will be playing, they will be completely different opponents. So in the UEFA Champions League and in the UEFA Europa League, teams play 8 league matches against 8 different teams. 4 matches they will be playing in their home ground and 4 matches they will be playing away. Now there is a difference with Conference League where there will be 6 games per team, 6 different opponents. In the UEFA Conference League, teams will play 6 league matches against 6 different teams. 3 matches are played at home and 3 matches will be played away. Now how will the draw happen? Now in the UEFA Champions League and in the UEFA Europa League, teams are seeded into 4 pots of 9 teams by their 5-year UEFA club coefficient. The UEFA Champions League holders automatically go into plot 1. So it will be Real Madrid who will go to pot 1, and according to the 5-year coefficient of the UEFA Champions League, each club will go. The more the coefficient they have, the better chances are them to land into pot 1. Each team will be drawn against 2 opponents from each of the pots. So a team from pot 1 will play 2 matches from the big teams that who will be there in the pot 1. Then this pot 2 teams, pot 3 2 teams and pot 4 2 teams. So it says each team will be drawn against 2 opponents from each of the 4 pots. They will play one of those teams at home and one away. Now there is a bit of difference when it comes to Conference League, where it says in the UEFA Conference League, teams are seeded into 6 pots of 6 teams. Each club will be drawn against one opponent from each of the 6 pots. 6 pots will be paired pot 1 and 2, pot 3 and 4 and pot 5 and 6. Each club will play one opponent at home and the other opponent away from each of the 2 paired pots. Now at the end of the league phase, so since the initial rounds of the matches will be like a league round, There will be no away goal rules. That away goal rules were already cancelled off during the away goal rules were already called off during the last season of Champions Leagues. And now this time at the end of the league phase, in each competition, the teams placed from 1 to 8th in the ranking will qualify directly for the round of 16. The team finishing from 9 to 24, so that means from 9 to 24, it's a total of 16 teams. These will play a two-legged playoff to secure their place in the last 16. So top 8 teams have already qualified for the round of 16. Teams from 9th to 24th will be playing a playoff, home and away, and according to that, 8 teams will be selected who win the playoff, and they will be the final 16 teams finishing. Now there is a bit difference this time as compared to the previous seasons, where teams finishing 25th or lower are directly eliminated from all UEFA competitions. So there will be no demotion from UEFA Champions League to UEFA Europa League, or from UEFA Europa League to UEFA Conference League. So there will be no demotion this time, where a team can then drop into a different competition and then play their rest of the matches there. Now let's look into how the knockout seeding table will work. A table will be formed based on the final rankings of the league phase. We'll get to it on the next page to determine path of each team from the knockout playoffs to the final. However, based on the league phase ranking, team will be paired 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and so on. So 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and split into opposite parts of the table by a draw. I think we'll get to know more on this in the next page, but let's look out knockout playoffs. So for the knockout phase playoffs, clubs that will finish from 9 to 16 in the league phase will be seeded and will play against the clubs that finish 17 to 24. So 8 versus 8 that way. The seeded clubs will then play the second leg at home. And then from the round of 16 is the same thing. I think it will be the same draw that we have seen. Now let's look into how it will come. So, okay. So the first 8 teams of the league, they will already be placed in the round of 16. So if you see here, you already have 1 and 2, 7, 8, 5, 6, 3 and 4. And the same for here. It can be 2 and 1, any of these teams. So the first 8 are already qualified and they are placed. Now according to the knockout that will happen, so the 17th or 18th, or here it will be 15 or 16, they will play the playoffs. After this playoff, they will now enter the round of 16. So from teams from 9 to 24, they are arranged in the playoffs already, and according to the result of the playoff, they will be facing any of these opponents. And then after that, from the round of 16 is the same as it has been in the previous seasons, where they will then, the winner, it will be a 2-leg tie, home and away. The winner will go to the quarterfinals. Then again, it will be a 2-leg tie, with semi-final also being a 2-leg tie, and with final being in a neutral venue with a 1-leg. So I think this looks good. Let's see if there is something else as well. So yeah, this is one of the differences that I wanted to talk to you about, where initially all the group stages of the UEFA Champions League, or let it be UEFA Europa League and Conference League, they all used to finish in the same year where they start the competition. So at least the group stages will be used to get finished by December or November in any of the previous UEFA Champions League or Europa League campaigns. But now if you see here, in the UEFA Champions League, we have the games. So we have 6 games still played till December. We have 2 more games in January. So it will get carried over. It will be the same for the UEFA Europa League as well, where you have 2 games getting carried over in the mid of January. And for the Conference League, I think this is the only one which will get finished this will get finished in December. So I think the Conference League will end in this group stage will end in the same year, but for others it will get carried over to January. So that means it will have more congestion, because during December and January there are more matches. So it will be tricky for most of the team. Then in February, if you see, they have the knockout matches in Feb, and then from March they have the round of 16, then quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the final, which will end in towards the end of May. Now here they talk about a bit about how this will improve their revenue and distribution. So we are not going to be concerned about this. But however, there is one important thing that I wanted to show you. Now this is something interesting that I wanted to talk about, where a total of 36 teams will be divided into 8 pots depending upon their seeds, after which clubs will be drawn manually from each pot before the supercomputer takes over and selects their 8 league fixtures. So a supercomputer will be deciding the draw. AI and supercomputers are taking over the Champions League as well, guys. Now it says the computer has been programmed to a factor in country projection, which will prevent teams from drawing opponents from the same league. One club will face a maximum of two opponents from their own country. UEFA remains confident that the new software is safe from threats of cyber attack. If we see Manchester City drawing Real Madrid, we know that it's not safe. We know that it's not safe. But let's see. We'll get to know tomorrow. So this is a thing that they added. Had the draw been conducted manually for the expanded competition, it would have taken 4 hours, 1,000 balls and 36 glass bowls to complete the process. However, with the use of AI and the supercomputer, the draw will only now take 35 minutes. This is where they talk about the new format. And there was one more bit of interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so the draw will be happening tomorrow on Thursday, August 29th. So keep your fingers crossed. I have kept my fingers crossed for Arsenal. I hope they'll land some good that can give them a smooth run in the group stage, or I should not say the group stage anymore, a smooth run in the league phase. But let's see what happens. Now, this is the last thing that I wanted to talk about in today's episode. Now, Adidas has unveiled their new Champions League and UEFA Women's Champions League match balls. So you see, this is the new ball that the team will be playing with in the Champions League, and this is the one that will be used in the UEFA Women's Champions League. They both look good, and I'm excited for the new Champions League. Let's see, we have a favorable draw. We will discuss on the draw as well once it happens. So let me know your thoughts on the changes in the UEFA Champions League format, and what do you feel about that? And thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more football insights and discussion. See you next time. Thank you.